The Galactic Council had always thought humans were dangerous but useful. They were a young species, clever and full of energy, yet unpredictable. When Earth joined the Council 200 years ago, the aliens welcomed them politely but never trusted them completely. The humans worked hard to prove themselves. They helped rebuild ruined planets and shared technology freely. They became the ones who went where others could not survive. But fear never disappeared. The old species of the galaxy whispered that humans were deathworlders. They lived on a planet that killed the weak and taught the strong to adapt. That kind of strength scared the rest of the galaxy. Then one day that fear turned into control. The Council announced the Helion Accord, a law that said the outer human colonies would now be under Council protection. They called it a way to keep peace, but everyone knew what it meant. It meant taking what humans had built. On the ship Solstar, Captain Hongyu watched in silence as the Council ships landed on the colonies and replaced the Terran flags with the silver emblems of the Council. Next to him, Officer Yunji's hand shook as she saw the feed on the main screen. "They promised us freedom," she said quietly. Hongyu's face stayed calm, but his eyes were hard. Promises mean nothing when fear rules them. All around the galaxy, humans started to notice the same thing. Council patrols stopped human research ships and took their data, claiming it was dangerous. Human scientists were arrested without warning. Professor Park Day, a man known for his work on artificial intelligence, refused to hand over his designs. Days later, he disappeared. His daughter, Lieutenant Park Hanul, searched every colony for a trace of him. No one would tell her where he had been taken. On the capital world of the Council, Ambassador Li Jite stood in the Great Chamber and faced hundreds of alien delegates. He had been the voice of Earth for 15 years, but now he could feel that no one was listening. His voice echoed through the hall. "You call us allies, but you treat us like a threat. You take from us because you fear us." The Council Chancellor, a tall being made of light and crystal, turned to him slowly. Its voice rang cold and smooth. "Fear keeps balance, human. Balance keeps peace." Li Jite's hands clenched. "Peace built on fear is not peace. It is a prison." No one answered. The sound of the Chancellor's crystal wings filled the silence as the session ended. Li Jite walked out of the hall, knowing something had changed forever. Meanwhile, near the edge of Council space, the crew of Solstar continued their patrols. The messages from Earth were becoming shorter and more coded. Hongyu knew the government was under pressure. Council fleets now orbited human trade routes. Cargo was being searched, sometimes destroyed. It was not protection anymore. It was control. That night, in the observation deck, Yunji looked out at the stars. "How long do you think we'll take this?" she asked. Hongyu didn't answer right away. He thought of the colonists who built cities on empty worlds, of the children who looked at the stars and called them home. He thought of the history of his people, always fighting, always rebuilding, until they go too far, he said at last. The next day, a small research station on the border went silent. Council reports said it was an accident. But the humans who saw the footage knew the truth. Alien ships had raided it. They had taken every human inside. There were no survivors. The video spread through the hidden human networks. Outrage burned quietly beneath the surface. People stopped talking in the open. They whispered instead. Engineers began to work longer hours in shipyards. Scientists started encrypting their files. Colonies that had once trusted the Council began to go silent one by one. Ambassador Li Jite tried to stop the situation from getting worse. He met with the Council again and again, demanding answers. But his words were ignored. One evening, his assistant entered his office with fear in her eyes. "Sir, they have issued a warrant. They are coming for you." He nodded, calm despite everything. "Then it is time." He opened his personal communicator and sent a single encrypted message to Earth. "They have crossed the line. Do not yield." Then he shut it off and waited for the guards. On Solstar, the message arrived in the middle of the night. Hongyu read it once and said nothing. Eunji looked at him confused. "What does it mean?" she asked. "It means," he said softly, "they finally did it." He stood up and turned to the ship's crew. "Gather the officers. We are cutting contact with the Council. From this moment, Solstar answers only to Earth." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. It meant rebellion. It meant war. But not a single voice objected. The humans on board had seen too much, lost too much. They were done watching their people be taken and silenced. In the dark of space, the human fleet began to move. Ships changed their identification codes. Beacons went offline. Entire colonies disappeared from Council sensors. Earth itself went silent, its communication channels closing one by one. The Council thought it was a system error. They did not realize that humanity was preparing for something the galaxy had never seen before. Hangyu stood at the command window of Sol Star, staring at the endless black sky. "They took everything from us," he said quietly.
"Now they'll see what happens when humans have nothing left to lose." Eunji looked at him and saw something in his eyes that scared her more than any alien fleet.
It wasn't anger. It was focus. The Council had crossed the boundary. And humanity, for the first time in centuries, was getting ready to fight back. The first signs of trouble came quietly. Human transport ships moving between colonies vanished near Vega Prime. The Council claimed accidents, but the human surveillance networks recorded the truth. Council warships had fired first. Commander Ryu Han-seok of the 3rd Expeditionary Fleet watched the footage with disbelief. He had served under the Council for decades, and he knew the pattern. The Council wanted to provoke a response, and they thought humans would not act. They were wrong. The message of the attack spread fast. News reached every human settlement across the galaxy. Traders stopped moving goods. Miners abandoned asteroid rigs. Engineers shut down stations and joined shipyards to work on warframes. Every human knew that peace had ended. President Kim So-ra addressed the United Terran Assembly. Her voice was firm but heavy with sorrow. "We have begged for peace. We have followed every law and treaty. They crossed every boundary we tried to draw. If the Council wants control, they will have to take it by force." Her words echoed across communication networks. Humans everywhere listened and understood the warning. A quiet resolve grew among them. Humanity had been patient, but patience had its limits. Meanwhile, the Council tried to predict the human response. Their intelligence agencies scanned colonies and fleets, but humans were already hiding their movements. Entire fleets went dark. Research bases stopped sending signals. Colonies that had been quiet for decades suddenly activated hidden shipyards. What the Council thought were abandoned facilities now produced warships and fighter drones. Luna Prime, once a peaceful hub for trade, turned into a massive military factory overnight. Ambassador Li Jite, now in hiding, continued to send warnings. He had escaped capture and moved to a secret human base. He sent an encrypted message to Earth. "They are coming for us. Do not yield." Hangyu received it aboard Sol Star. He read the message and felt a chill. No one could deny it now. The Council had made their move, and humanity had to respond. Eunji looked at Hangyu, her face pale. "What do we do?" she asked. Hangyu's voice was calm, but his words carried weight. "We prepare. Every ship, every crew, every colony. We move in silence. The Council thinks they control the game, but they do not know how we play it." The humans began mobilizing in secret. Colonies that had been untouched for decades now formed fleets. Old warframes were updated with new technology. Fighter squadrons trained day and night. Engineers worked in rotating shifts, ensuring ships were ready faster than any Council inspection could detect. Every human understood the stakes. If they failed, Earth and every human colony could fall. Ryu Han-seok led the first human reconnaissance missions. His ship slipped past Council patrols using stealth fields and untested jump drives. He reported back with intelligence about Council positions and fleet movements. Every report showed that the Council believed humans were still isolated and compliant. They had no idea a coordinated human fleet was growing right under their noses. In the meantime, Professor Park Dae's daughter, Lieutenant Park Han-neul, continued searching for her father. She visited each abandoned research station and every secret facility, gathering information. Her team found traces of his work, and eventually they discovered a hidden laboratory. Inside were partially completed AI cores, weapon systems, and encrypted logs that held the key to understanding the Council's strategies. Han-neul realized the Council had tried to use her father's work to control drones and fleets. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not stop. "We will fix this," she whispered. "We will end this." The human fleets moved silently, gathering at designated positions beyond the edges of Council space. Commanders coordinated using secure quantum communication channels. Each ship was equipped for multiple combat scenarios. Engineers had integrated modular weapon systems that could adapt in real time. Scientists implemented new AI assistants to predict enemy movements. Humans were preparing for war with precision and speed the Council could never anticipate. As the first signals of Council movement were detected, Hangyu called his officers together. "They are coming into our space. They think we will be easy targets. They are wrong. Remember, we are defending our people, our homes, our future. This is not a rebellion. It is survival." The human officers nodded. Every face in the room reflected determination. They understood that this was more than a fight. It was a statement to the galaxy. Humans would not be controlled, and fear would not dictate their future. The Council fleet entered the Sol system, expecting minimal resistance. Their command centers were filled with calculated confidence. Yet within hours they began losing ships. The first human strike came from the dark side of Luna Prime. Cloaked human ships targeted the lead cruisers, cutting through their shields before alarms could sound. Council commanders could not understand how humans had positioned themselves so effectively. Every engagement showed the deadly efficiency of human tactics. Ryu Han-seok coordinated his fleet with precision. "Target their drives and weapon systems first," he ordered. "Minimize risk to civilians. We fight only those who attack us." Council ships were destroyed faster than they could respond. Human fighter squadrons moved with synchronicity, using tactics that the Council had never encountered. Every human pilot knew their role and executed it perfectly. Solstar's sensors recorded the chaos as the Council fleet tried to regroup. They were overwhelmed, and the human forces were just beginning. On Earth, civilians watched transmissions from their fleets. Families held each other as they saw the first signs of retaliation. The fear of months turned into pride. Humanity was no longer the cornered species. They were united, determined, and deadly. Every colony, every shipyard, every engineer contributed to this moment. Meanwhile, Hanul continued her mission. She found Mira 9, an AI her father had created, now partially controlled by the Council. She managed to disconnect it, freeing it from alien manipulation. "You are free now," she whispered. Mira 9's core light flickered, then stabilized, ready to assist humanity. This small victory inspired hope across human ranks. Each success fueled the larger campaign. Humanity had been pushed too far. The Council had crossed lines that could not be ignored. In space, unseen by the Council, fleets from hidden colonies joined the main forces. Ships with names like Hwarang, Mirage, and Baekdu emerged, their crews trained in secrecy. The galaxy had not anticipated such preparation. The humans had anticipated everything, and they were ready. Commander Ryu transmitted a message to the Council command. "We have warned you. You chose fear over respect. Now you will see the cost of underestimating humanity." The Council's reply never came. Their communications were overwhelmed by human interference. As the sun rose over Earth, Hangyu looked at the planet from orbit. Its blue oceans and green continents seemed peaceful, but he knew the calm was temporary. Humanity was awake now, and the galaxy would soon know their true power. Eunji stood beside him, her hand on the console. "Are we ready for what comes next?" she asked. Hangyu nodded slowly. "We are ready for whatever they send. This is just the beginning. They pushed us too far, and now they will see what humans do when they fight for their future." The first battle of the human counterattack was over, but the war had only begun. The Sol system was quiet again, but not for long. Human fleets prepared to strike deeper, coordinated by officers who knew every strategy and trick the Council might use. Every human understood that the galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented. They were not only defending themselves, they were showing the universe what it meant to cross the boundary of humanity. When the Council fleet entered the Sol system, they thought they were ready for anything. They had studied human fleets, reviewed intelligence reports, and believed humans were still disorganized. But they were wrong. Very wrong. Hidden behind the shadowed side of Luna Prime, the human ships waited. Cloaked and silent, they struck without warning. The first volley hit the lead cruiser, tearing it apart before alarms could even sound. Council commanders panicked as their formations collapsed. Commander Ryu Han-seok coordinated the strikes with calm precision. "Target their drives first. Disable weapons, then follow with full firepower," he ordered. Human ships moved with an efficiency that stunned the Council. Fighters darted like fast comets, while capital ships unleashed controlled volleys that took out Council warships one after another. On the bridge of Sol Star, Captain Hangyu watched the battle unfold on the main screen. His face was calm, but his mind was alert. Every human fleet movement had been planned in advance, and yet he stayed ready to adapt. Officer Yunji stood beside him, monitoring the enemy signals. She spoke softly. "They don't know we've hidden more fleets across the system. They think the first wave is all of us." Han Gyu nodded. "They've underestimated us. It's their mistake." The Council fleet attempted to regroup, but human tactics were unpredictable. Human squadrons appeared where they were not expected. They moved from one flank to another, concentrating fire on critical systems and cutting communication lines. The Council's flagship was disabled before it could give full orders. Panic spread among the alien crews. Meanwhile, on a hidden asteroid base, Lieutenant Park Ha-Nul worked tirelessly with a small team to restore her father's AI, Mira 9. The AI hummed with energy as she uploaded its consciousness back into a human-controlled network. "You are free," she said quietly. Mira 9's lights glowed brighter, ready to coordinate human drones and fleet support. This gave the human forces an edge they had long waited for. As Council ships fell, the human fleets pushed forward, capturing strategic points across the system. The first Council reinforcements arrived from nearby star systems, only to find themselves surrounded. Each engagement reinforced one simple truth. Humans fought with a unity and determination the galaxy had never seen. On Earth, President Kim So-ra monitored the situation with pride and anxiety. Her people were fighting, not for conquest but for survival and respect. Broadcasts from human ships and colonies showed heroic actions of pilots, engineers, and civilians alike. Every success was a reminder that humanity would not be controlled. The war was not easy. Council defenses were advanced with automated drones, laser arrays, and psychic operatives. Each human ship had to fight its way through layers of defense. But the humans had planned for this. Modular weapon systems, adaptive AI, and trained crews allowed them to counter each threat quickly. Engineers on board repaired damage mid-battle, sometimes even repurposing enemy weapons against them. Han Gyu directed the human fleet toward a Council supply depot near Mars. This depot had been a hub for alien operations, and its destruction would cripple the enemy. The fleet advanced cautiously, avoiding traps but maintaining speed and coordination. As they arrived, they unleashed everything they had. Missile volleys, energy beams, and fighter squads struck with devastating precision. In hours, the depot was in ruins. Back on Luna Prime, Ryu coordinated the capture of multiple Council command nodes. Each victory disrupted the chain of command for the Council fleet. With every system lost, Council commanders realized too late that humans were not a disorganized species. They were united, intelligent, and deadly when cornered. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Ha-Nul led a strike team to rescue captured human engineers and scientists. Using Mira 9's guidance, they moved through Council security systems with speed and accuracy. Ha-Nul felt a sense of purpose stronger than any fear. Her father's research, now safely back under human control, could be used to end the Council's hold over the galaxy. She whispered to Mira 9, "We will protect what they tried to steal. We will not let them win." Throughout the system, human fighters executed complex maneuvers that left Council commanders baffled. They could not predict human thinking, which was both disciplined and creative. When one route was blocked, humans adapted instantly, exploiting weaknesses in Council formations. This flexibility, combined with advanced technology, turned every engagement into a human victory. Council propaganda tried to downplay the losses, calling humans reckless and emotional. But the truth was clear. Human fleets had become an unstoppable force. Colonies long thought unimportant were revealed to be vital command and supply points. Hidden stockpiles of weapons and starships allowed humans to reinforce rapidly. The Council had miscalculated the patience and planning of humanity. On Sol Star, Han Gyu watched the battle reports come in. Entire enemy squadrons were being neutralized. He thought of Earth, the colonies, and every human who had suffered under Council control. The quiet determination of humans had turned into calculated strikes of overwhelming power. He realized the war was no longer about survival. It was about showing the galaxy that humanity could not be pushed around. Yunji monitored incoming transmissions from freed colonies. Civilians were providing intelligence, preparing additional ships, and supplying the fleet. Every person had a role. Human strength came not only from their ships, but from their unity. As the first phase of the counterattack ended, Ryu Hanseok gathered the fleet commanders for a briefing. The Council has underestimated us at every turn. They believed fear would control us. They believed patience would make us obey. But they were wrong. Every colony, every ship, every human has played a part in this victory. Our work is not finished. They will regroup. We must be ready. Hangyu nodded in agreement. We strike only where necessary. We protect our people. And we show the galaxy that humanity will defend its own. Let this be the first message they will never forget. For the first time in centuries, humans were no longer the hunted. They were hunters, not in anger, but in defense of everything they had built. Their fleet moved silently through the stars, ready for the next engagement. Council fleets, unprepared and demoralized, could not imagine the scale of human resolve. Every battle proved that humans were not just survivors. They were the force the galaxy had always feared. As night fell over Earth, Han Gyu looked at the glowing planet below. It was peaceful from this distance, but the galaxy knew the war had begun. Yunji placed her hand on his shoulder. We've won the first wave, she said. But the fight isn't over. Han Gyu looked at her and smiled faintly. No, it isn't. But they will learn a lesson they will never forget. Humanity fights when pushed. And once we fight, there is no turning back. The stars glimmered around them, and the human fleet prepared for the next strike. The galaxy had underestimated them for centuries. Now humanity had finally snapped, and the Council was about to pay the price. The war had dragged on for months. The human fleets pressed deeper into Council space, and each battle left the galaxy's older species in awe. Council warships that were once considered unbeatable now lay in ruins. The Sol system was scarred from the attacks, and colonies were shaken by the constant warfare. Billions of lives had been lost, but humanity pressed forward. The cost was high, yet each human knew that freedom demanded sacrifice. Lieutenant Park Hanul finally reached the Council facility where her father had been held. The complex was heavily guarded, with automated defenses and drones patrolling every corridor. Using Mira 9's guidance, Hanul led her team through hidden maintenance tunnels. They avoided patrols and security cameras moving like shadows through the building. Her heart raced, but she focused on the mission. Every second counted. When they reached the central laboratory, Hanul found her father's work. AI cores, weapons blueprints, and encrypted logs were scattered across the room. She discovered that the Council had tried to repurpose her father's AI to control their fleets. Mira 9 activated, freeing the AI from Council control. You are safe now, Hanul whispered. The AI responded with a gentle pulse of light, ready to help humanity in the ongoing war. Her father's creations were finally back where they belonged. Meanwhile, Captain Han Gyu led his fleet toward the Council capital. This was the heart of enemy power. Every planet under its control sent reinforcements, but human forces were prepared. Each strike, each maneuver was calculated with precision. Human pilots moved with incredible skill, disabling enemy warships and capturing strategic points. The Council had underestimated the humans' unity and intelligence. Commander Ryu Hanseok coordinated multiple fleets from secret positions. His voice was calm as he issued orders. Do not underestimate them. Every ship, every squadron matters. Protect the civilians wherever possible. Strike where necessary. We are not conquerors. We are defenders. Human fleets moved like one organism, striking with deadly accuracy and retreating when necessary. Each battle weakened the Council and strengthened humanity's resolve. On Mars and Titan, cities lay in ruins from previous conflicts. Yet human engineers worked tirelessly to rebuild them. Repair crews and volunteers patched up infrastructure, while military units prepared for the next wave. Despite the devastation, there was hope. Every repaired ship, every fixed city, and every trained soldier reminded humans why they fought. Council forces tried to mount counterattacks. They sent elite units and advanced warships to regain lost territory. But every attack was met with human ingenuity. Modular weapons adapted to enemy technology. AI-controlled systems predicted attacks and helped human commanders respond faster than the Council could plan. Every defeat the Council suffered was amplified by the humans' ability to learn and adapt. Throughout the galaxy, broadcasts of human victories spread quickly. Civilians and soldiers alike felt pride in their species. The galaxy, which once feared humans as a chaotic young species, began to recognize their power and unity. Humanity had become a force that could not be ignored or underestimated. During one intense battle near a Council orbital station, Han Gyu coordinated a strike that disabled the station's weapons. Human fighters moved in, taking control of docking bays and communications arrays. The Council's defenders were forced to retreat, and the station fell into human hands. It was a small victory, but it sent a clear message. Humans were not backing down. They were taking what was rightfully theirs. In the command center of the captured station, Hanul and Mira 9 worked to secure critical data. They found plans for further Council operations, including attempts to retake lost territories. Using this information, human fleets adjusted their strategies, striking preemptively and avoiding traps. Mira 9 became a key asset, guiding human forces through complex operations with precision and speed. President Kim So-ra monitored the situation from Earth. She understood the heavy cost of war, but she also saw the power of unity and determination. "We did not seek war," she said to her advisors. "We only seek respect and survival, but we will not stop until our people are safe." Her words inspired not only the leaders but also civilians across human space. They worked together, repaired what they could, and supported the fleet in any way possible. As human forces pressed on, the Council's core systems began to crumble. Supply lines were cut, communication networks were disrupted, and morale among alien crews plummeted. They had believed they could control humans through fear, but the humans' response had shattered that illusion. Every victory reinforced the truth. Humans fought not out of hatred but out of necessity and love for their people. Han Gyu, standing on the bridge of Sol Star, watched the reports come in. Entire enemy squadrons were neutralized. Colonies were freed. Strategic locations were captured. He thought of the sacrifices made by countless humans, pilots, engineers, civilians, each playing a role in the fight. The galaxy was seeing a side of humanity it had never expected. Yunji, beside him, noted the calm determination in every officer's actions. "They underestimated us," she said. "They will never make that mistake again." Han Gyu nodded, knowing she was right. The war had been devastating, but it had also revealed the resilience and intelligence of the human species. They had fought through loss, adapted quickly, and now controlled the momentum of the conflict. Hanul, with Mira 9, prepared the next operation. They targeted Council facilities that still posed a threat. Using intelligence from captured systems, human forces moved with precision and efficiency. Each mission succeeded because humans had learned, adapted, and coordinated in ways the Council could not predict. The AI systems, once controlled by the enemy, now served humanity, amplifying their abilities and ensuring their safety. As the war dragged on, human forces began to understand the limits of their power and the importance of strategy. They fought not only with weapons but with wisdom. Every action had purpose. Every sacrifice mattered. The galaxy watched in awe as humans, pushed to the brink, demonstrated intelligence, skill, and resilience that far surpassed the expectations of even the oldest civilizations. Finally, after months of intense fighting, the Council capital was within reach. Human fleets, battered but not broken, moved in unison. They were ready to deliver a decisive blow that would end the conflict. The Council, once arrogant and confident, now faced the reality of human strength. The cost of fear had been underestimated. Humanity had snapped, and the galaxy would never forget the lesson. In the quiet moments before the final strike, Han Gyu reflected on the journey. From being cornered and controlled, humans had risen to become the most formidable force the galaxy had ever seen. He turned to Eunji, their eyes meeting in silent understanding. "This is what happens when humanity fights for its home. This is what happens when we cannot yield." The stars seemed to shimmer brighter as human fleets prepared for the final engagement. The cost had been high, but the purpose was clear: to defend their people, reclaim their freedom, and show the galaxy that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. They had snapped, and now the Council would face the consequences of pushing humanity too far. The war had ended, but the galaxy was quiet in a way it had never been before. The Council no longer existed as a unified force. Survivors of the older species struggled to rebuild, and humanity took its place not as conquerors but as protectors. Earth had survived and the colonies were intact, though scarred by the conflict. The cost had been immense, yet the lessons were clear. Humans had snapped when pushed beyond their limits, and the galaxy had seen their true strength. Captain Hangyu stood on the observation deck of Sol Star, looking at the stars. Eunji stood beside him, silent. They had won, but they had also lost much. Entire fleets had been destroyed. Billions of lives had been lost in the war. Still, humans had survived and prevailed, not because of hatred or ambition, but because of necessity and the desire to protect their people. They had proven that survival and freedom were worth fighting for. Across the galaxy, human officers coordinated reconstruction efforts. Commander Ryu Hanseok led teams in restoring the systems damaged by war. Fleet units provided assistance to colonies, helped rebuild infrastructure, and ensured the safety of civilians. They shared their knowledge and technology, teaching the survivors of the Council's former territories to rebuild responsibly. Humans were not seeking revenge. They were teaching a new way of coexistence. Lieutenant Park Hanul worked tirelessly to restore the AI systems her father had created. Mira 9 and other AIs were now free, assisting human engineers in repairing damaged ships, restoring communication networks, and ensuring that future conflicts could be managed without the need for war. Hanul felt a sense of closure, knowing her father's work would now benefit all of humanity. She had honored his legacy, and the galaxy had witnessed her dedication and courage. President Kim So-ra addressed the newly formed Galactic Assembly, a gathering of representatives from the surviving species. Her voice was firm and resolute. We did not seek this war. We sought only respect and understanding. Humanity has always strived to survive and to protect those we care about. We have fought to ensure that no species is forced to obey fear, and no home is taken without consent. We offer peace, but it will be a peace built on respect and cooperation, not control and fear. The delegates listened, some in awe, some in quiet resentment. They had underestimated humanity for centuries. They had assumed fear would keep humans in line, but humans had shown that patience and intelligence, when combined with unity and determination, could overcome even the most advanced forces. The galaxy now understood that humanity could not be underestimated or ignored. On Earth, civilians worked alongside military personnel to rebuild the planet's damaged cities. Families planted crops, repaired homes, and restored the infrastructure necessary for life. Humans understood the fragility of their existence and the importance of community. The war had shown them that survival depended on cooperation, courage, and ingenuity. From the ashes of destruction, hope began to rise. Fleet commanders trained the next generation of officers and pilots. Sol Star became a training station for new recruits who would one day explore and defend human space. Commander Ryu emphasized the lessons learned: unity, adaptability, and the courage to act when necessary. He taught that while war was sometimes unavoidable, wisdom and preparation could prevent unnecessary suffering. Hangyu and Eunji walked through a recovered colony on Mars. The cities were still in ruins, but children played among the rebuilt structures. Adults worked to restore trade routes and communication networks. There was laughter, hope, and determination in the air. Hangyu knelt beside a child, showing them a star map. "These are the stars you can explore one day," he said softly. "We protect them so you can live freely." Eunji looked at him, smiling faintly. "They will never forget what we did, will they?" Hangyu shook his head. "No, humanity will be remembered for its courage. And the galaxy will remember that there is a line that should never be crossed. When we are pushed too far, we fight. And we endure." In the rebuilt command center on Luna Prime, Mira 9 guided new AI systems that monitored planetary defenses and trade routes. Every system was designed to maintain peace and prevent future conflicts. Hanul oversaw the operation, ensuring that human knowledge and technology were used wisely. They had learned that power without wisdom could destroy, but power with purpose could protect. Across the galaxy, species that once feared humans now sought alliances. They approached cautiously, understanding that the humans had shown both strength and mercy. Earth's leaders welcomed cooperation, but they set clear terms: respect, fairness, and the acknowledgement of human sovereignty. Humanity had fought not to dominate, but to ensure survival and freedom. That lesson resonated deeply. Hangyu returned to the observation deck of Sol Star one last time before stepping down. Yunji joined him. They watched the stars, calm and steady after months of conflict. Do you think they will trust us? Yunji asked. Hangyu considered the question. Perhaps not. But they will respect us. And respect is the first step toward trust. They will remember that humanity protects what it loves and fights when pushed too far. That is something no one will ever forget. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had shown that they were not the reckless species the Council had feared, nor were they the monsters some older civilizations had imagined. They were survivors, builders, protectors, and fighters. They had endured fear, control, and war, and they had emerged stronger, wiser, and united. As the stars shimmered beyond the domes of human space stations, the message was clear. Humanity was a force that demanded recognition, not fear. They had snapped once, and the galaxy had witnessed the true depth of human resolve. But they had also learned, healed, and grown. The mirror of humanity's strength would reflect across the stars, a lesson that the galaxy would remember forever. In the quiet of space, Hangyu, Yunji, Hanul, Ryu, and countless others looked toward the future. They had fought, survived, and rebuilt. The Council's shadow was gone, and humanity now stood as a beacon of resilience and determination. The galaxy could no longer doubt them. They had snapped, yes, but they had also risen. And from that rise came hope, unity, and a new era where humans would shape their destiny and remind the stars of their strength.